Welcome to 3-Act Structure Explained, where we prove that every movie is secretly the same movie. This time, we're looking at The Hate U Give. Ready? Go. In Act 1, we meet Star. She's from Garden Heights, a poorer, mostly black neighborhood. But her parents send her across town to a fancy private school. To fit in there, she feels like she has to hide her blackness.
Basically, Williamson Star doesn't give anyone a reason to call her ghetto. And I hate myself for doing it.
In the inciting incident, Star goes to a party in Garden Heights for the first time in a while, and runs into her old childhood friend, Khalil. They leave together and get pulled over by a cop. Star's dad is an ex-gangster who has a lot of strong beliefs about the police. He taught Star that as a black person, she has to be very careful around the police. But Khalil argues with the cop instead of doing what he's told. This leads to the cop shooting Khalil, even though Khalil was unarmed and didn't even break any laws. Across Act 2, the story of what happened to Khalil spreads across the neighborhood. The people of Garden Heights want justice for what happened to him. But a lot of other people make excuses, like he didn't follow all the cops' instructions, or he was probably a criminal anyway, to dismiss Khalil and assume he deserved it. Star is the only witness to what happened. If she wants to get justice for Khalil, she'll have to tell people what she saw, but she's afraid. If she speaks out, she'll get hate, harassment, and it'll also make things super weird at school. She's always trying to downplay her blackness here, but this would be a giant reminder of it. We see Star struggle to interact with her white classmates. Her boyfriend Chris can tell something's wrong and can't understand why Star won't talk to him about it. Her friend Haley is constantly saying or doing subtly racist things, but Star is too afraid to call her out.
Star, just pretend the ball is a piece of fried chicken. His son was only trying to do his job and protect himself. His life matters too, you know.
She's too afraid to talk about what happened, even though staying silent is eating away at every part of her life. But there is an even bigger reason for her to stay quiet. Khalil was a drug dealer for a local gang, the King Lords. If Star speaks out, that would bring the gang a lot of unwanted attention, and their leader, King, doesn't want that. He warns Star to keep quiet or else.
I think it's best if she don't talk to 5-0. You feel me?
Hey, Star. Remember what I told you, all right? You keep that shit in your rear view.
Even so, Star decides that she can't stay quiet. And in the midpoint, she gets on the news to tell her story. She slowly gets more confident across the second half of Act 2. When Haley runs her mouth about Khalil, Star finally tells her off, and they stop being friends. She talks to Chris about what's going on, and they end up closer than ever before.
I don't see color. I see people for who they are the exact same way I see you.
If you don't see my blackness, you don't see me.
But it's not over. We still don't know if the cop will be prosecuted for killing Khalil. And King shoots up her house as retaliation for what she said on the news. Before Khalil died, he told Star about the meaning of thug life, according to Tupac.
Thug life means the hate you give little infants. Everybody.
Oh, that's why they call it that.
It's the idea that racism creates a cycle of violence. All throughout the story, we've seen black people judged and harassed and hurt. But because the racism involved isn't explicit, a white person watching from the outside can say it has nothing to do with race. So these acts of racism always seem to go unpunished. Like in the all is lost moment, Star tells her story in court as evidence that the officer who shot Khalil should be punished. But the jury rules that the officer did nothing wrong. Star told her story, but it was all for nothing. This isn't over though, because the news about the ruling spreads fast, and in the climax, a protest breaks out in Garden Heights, one that gets pretty heated. But Star is done hiding. Instead of avoiding the protest, she gets right up in the middle of it and tells her story again to the crowd.
Everyone wants to talk about how Khalil died. This ain't about how Khalil died. It's about how he lived. Khalil lived. His life mattered.
She and her friends go back to her dad's store, but King firebombs the place with Star inside. The community comes together to save her. This all leads to the moment where Star's dad, King, and the cops all draw guns on each other. And this happens with Star's little brother, Sakani.
Leave my daddy alone!
The hate you give little infants F's everybody. But we can break this cycle.
How many of us have to die before y'all get it?
In the resolution, the cop who killed Khalil still got away with it. That's the reality of systemic racism. But everything that happened did inspire some positive change. King is arrested for starting the fire. Garden Heights is a more tight-knit community than ever before. And Star finally isn't hiding away parts of herself. She's openly and proudly Black, in school and beyond.
I can't change where I come from or what I've been through, so why be ashamed of what makes me, me?
So, what did the characters learn from this, and what can we learn? Here are the major themes of the story. Racism. Society is full of racist people and racist beliefs. Some that are obvious and some that aren't. It's impossible for any one person to change that, but we can all do our part to fight it. Identity. You shouldn't have to hide parts of yourself to fit in with other people. Be proud of who you are. And justice. If you see injustice in the world, it's your responsibility to speak out and make your voice heard.
It's thug life. The hate you give little infants.
F's everybody. I know what it stands for. What do you think it means?
Click the card on the left to see how another movie follows 3-act structure. Click the card on the right for a full explanation of what 3-act structure is and how it works. Subscribe if you like these videos and want to see more. And leave a comment if there's a movie you want to see the channel talk about next.